Ryan's BM Section 8 Housing. This is Two Guys, One Mic, the sports podcast where two armchair coaches trade in their couch potato credentials for a chance to prove they're the most valuable pundits. Meet our diabolical duo, John Calum and Ryan Allen, two friends who've spent countless hours yelling at the TV, criticizing the refs, and questioning the coach's sanity. Now, they're taking unfiltered their expertise to the next level, straight to your ears. IT's unfiltered, unapologetic, and often incorrect sports analysis, hilarious banter, witty one-liners, and ridiculous opinions. Expert-level trash talk. Just kidding, they're not experts, but they're experts at being loud. Laughter is the best medicine, and we've got a prescription for you. No more boring, dry sports commentary. Our guys bring the funny. Our opinions are completely subjective, often wrong, and not intended to be taken seriously. We're just two guys with a mic, having a blast, and hoping you'll join the fun. Get ready for the most epic, hilarious, and unapologetic sports analysis ever. Here's the hosts, John and Ryan.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the NFL podcast mock draft. This is going to be our first version. We still got 68 days until the NFL draft on April 26th in Pittsburgh. As always, I got my boy,
Ryan.
We're going to hit you guys with who we think each team is going to pick in this upcoming draft. And, of course, we're starting it off with the Las Vegas Raiders. Coming off a disastrous season, fired head coach Pete Carroll, offensive coordinator Chip Kelly didn't even make it to his first season, coming off a national championship at Ohio State. Put it bluntly, the Raiders are an absolute mess. Best way to fix a mess is to get a quarterback. Everybody needs a quarterback, and Mendoza is head and shoulders above the rest this year. Real tough kid, great leader, really coachable, led Indiana to an undefeated season in the first national championship in school history. Great completion percentage, led the country this year. Didn't have any bad games. He was steady all year, and when he had to make a play for his team, he definitely did that. So you can take it to the bank. Mendoza, quarterback, Indiana, number one, Las Vegas Raiders. Let's get it. Ryan, you agree, disagree? What do you think?
You don't think that they might trade down? You know, it's like that number one spot, and they got two people right behind them looking for quarterbacks.
You know, I definitely think that could have been an option a couple weeks ago, but with Mendoza bringing home the national championship, topping off his Cinderella season after winning the Heisman, I just think that he's too polished of a prospect to pass on, and especially if you're the Raiders. Now, don't get me wrong, somebody could come up with a draft haul that they can't turn down. I think that's highly unlikely, but stranger things have happened in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, but the O-line definitely needs some work, you know, and they definitely need some key pieces. I could definitely see them possibly trading down the draft to maybe for more draft picks, or just start building those pieces and maybe trade for maybe a more proven quarterback or anybody but Geno Smith, you know?
So those are some great points. The NFL free agency period hasn't started yet. That starts about 5 weeks before the NFL draft kicks off, so that gives teams a little bit of time to manage their roster and plug holes where need be. Like you said, the Raiders' offensive line is in shambles. They need to get that fixed. But basically, any unit that you look at with the Raiders is in shambles. So, like I said, start with the head of the snake, and Mendoza's going to be that guy moving forward. What do we got? Number two, we got the New York Jets coming in at number two. Be a no-story mock pick right here. Dante Moore came out of Oregon. For whatever reason, he chose to go back. That NIL money is pretty hard to turn down. College kid, college campus. I'm sure he's having a lot of fun as a millionaire. But the Jets need a quarterback, and there's definitely not anybody worthy of the second overall pick. Now, Ty Simpson of Alabama, he has been highly regarded as the second prospect in this draft for quarterbacks, but he is projected somewhere in the mid 10 to 20 range, and the Jets do have another pick at 16. So I, as a Jet fan myself, Jets, I think, as a matter of fact, I know they should go with the best player available. They got holes to fill all over the roster. They need a quarterback. Breece Hall is a free agent. They need to figure out if they're going to pay him what he's owed and retain him, or if not, that's another hole to add to the list of holes. They need another wide receiver opposite Garrett Wilson. They could use a playmaking tight end. Now, they have used the last few first-round picks on some offensive tackles. They've got two bookend studs from Missouri and Penn State the last 2 years. So getting a third piece of the line is also an option. So there's plenty of options available. The thing I didn't touch on is the pass rushers, and the Jets definitely need somebody able to get to the quarterback other than Will McDonald. So for the second pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, I got my New York Jets picking Arvell Reese, linebacker, Ohio State. Ryan?
I like that one.
Yeah, I do too. He's definitely a very versatile player. He can play inside and out. I'm usually not a big fan of tweener prospects. I feel like they need to have a set position in the NFL. It's a lot easier for coaches to put them in systems, and it's also a lot easier for them to learn systems and develop. That being said, I feel like Reese may be the exception to that. This was his first year moving down to the line at the edge position, so he does have experience as outside linebacker. That just speaks to his versatility, his speed. He can cover tight ends coming out on routes. He can cover backs out of the backfield, and he can get to the quarterback when need be. So Jets, number 2, Arvell Reese. First Ohio State player taken, one of many that me and Ryan feel are going to be coming out of the U, not U Miami. Second runner-up in the national championship this year. Shout out to Miami coach Mario, bringing the U back to respectability. And got good things coming for them in the future. So number 3, we got the Arizona Cardinals. It is getting hot in the desert. They need to put a winning squad on the field for the first time in 6 years. The major question mark surrounding Arizona is what they're going to do with their quarterback, Kyler Murray. Been a lot of rumors that he could be traded, could be possibly released to save cap money. Still got quite a bit of time before the draft for them to make those decisions, but there are decisions that need to be made. Me personally, I am going to put the Arizona Cardinals selecting Mayaga, the offensive tackle out of Miami. I had just previously stated Miami got runner-up in the national championship game, and he's a big reason for that. He is a mauler. He's great pass protector, and he's a great run blocker. He can do it both. He's tough. He doesn't miss games. He hasn't missed a game since he was in college. And he's the kind of guy you want on your offensive line. Tough, nasty, do the dirty work with a smile on his face. So that's who I think the Arizona Cardinals are going to pick. Again, another team with many holes. The higher in the draft in the first round you're picking means the worse that you did the previous season, and you got more work to do. So Cardinals are just like the other teams where we've already spoke about, and the next couple teams coming. I got them taking an offensive tackle, trying to get the trenches taken care of. Ryan, you see them possibly going anywhere else with this pick, or are you set?
You know Paris Johnson Jr. is lonely. Get them Francis, bro.
I know how it is to be lonely, bro. So I feel your sentiment there. Luckily for me, I'm never lonely because I always got my boy. Oh!
Yeah.
So, number 4. We got the Tennessee Titans. Still currently looking for a head coach. Coming off last year's draft where they took...
Same with Cardinals, right?
Yes. Yeah, no, that's a great point. Yeah, Cardinals are still looking for a head coach, and again, that could weigh in on the decisions that they have coming up as far as keeping the quarterback and what they're going to do in the draft. So, yes, they are another team looking for a head coach. That could change some philosophies going into the draft. But with this 4th pick, after drafting Cam Ward, the quarterback out of Miami last year, number 1, he definitely showed some flashes this year with potential of why he was the number 1 pick. He definitely had some mistakes, that you would expect from a rookie, no matter where he was drafted. So they could go a couple of ways with this pick. I feel it's definitely going to be on the offensive side of the ball. I'm thinking either an offensive tackle or a playmaker. So with the 4th pick in the draft, I got the Tennessee Titans drafting Carnell Tate, wide receiver out of the Ohio State University. The second Ohio State player taken out of the top 4. Tate's widely regarded as the top wide receiver in this draft. But this draft is a deep wide receiver draft. There is quality players up and down the board. You can definitely get some Puka Nakuas in the 5th round. I'm not saying there's a Puka Nakua out there, but there is definitely quality players in the later rounds that you could draft and get quality production out of and not have a hefty first-round draft pick salary to pay. So that's where I think they're going. Now, this one is definitely one of my first-round picks that I am the least confident about, just because of the head coaching situation and the many holes to fill. But I do feel it'll be on the offensive side of the ball, and my selection would be Tate, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. Now, Ryan, there's a bunch of wide receivers out there. You see them getting another one of those wide receivers, or what about the defensive side? You think they might go over there?
Well, what's funny is Ohio State's going to be a honeypot this year. You know, there's a reach in and pull somebody out. And I think this time they're going to pull out Arvell Reese to complement Jeffrey Simmons on Robert Sala's defense. You know, you could go anywhere, you know. Like, I like that. That'd be where I'd go with that.
Simmons definitely is a stud on the defensive line. Has been for a few years there in Tennessee, and I'm sure he would love some
Good
help.
wrecking duo.
Yeah.
Bash Bros.
That'd be one dynamic duo. You're right. Mario and Luigi.
There you go.
So I guess I could see that pick coming in, making some sense. Again, I definitely feel like the pick is up in the air with the whole coaching decisions to be made. So we got the 5th pick, number 5. We got the New York Football Giants. Giants hired John Harbaugh, of course, as their head coach. The fan base is definitely fired up about that. John Harbaugh seems just as fired up to be in New York. Everyone knows New York is a town that can eat you up and spit you out. But if you're tough enough, you can survive. And the Harbaughs are pretty damn tough. I feel like he's going to come in there and change the culture and get Giants back to playing New York Giant football, which is smash mouth, hit you in the mouth football. Don't give you a chance to react. They just keep hitting you in the face. I don't know many people that can carry on getting hit in the face besides myself. So with the number 5 pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, the New York Giants are going to take Jordan Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State. Now, the Giants would have loved to have Carnell Tate. His skill set is a little less similar to Neighbors as Tyson's is, but Tyson is still the second best wide receiver in a very deep wide receiver draft coming out of Arizona State. He comes from an athletic family. He's got an older brother that's played in the NBA for the Spurs, so you know they got some good genes there. He's a hard worker, catches everything thrown his way, and he's got a pretty good catch radius. Not the best, not elite, but it's definitely something that can be worked with, and I don't think anybody's going to complain about his catches that I made on the field. He can catch deep balls, he can go over the middle, he can toe tap the sideline, he can do it all. So we got 2 wide receivers off the board in the first 5 picks, only 1 wide receiver. We got a defensive lineman and an offensive lineman with lots of prospects left to go. Ryan, you think the Giants take a chance going anywhere else with the pick? Now, granted, they got a few good pieces on both sides of the ball. Jackson Dart looked very, very good last year. He led all NFL rookie quarterbacks in passing yards, touchdowns, rushing touchdowns.
What's Malik Neighbors going to do when he gets back?
He's going to welcome them to Mr. Neighbors' neighborhood, and they're going to be bestest of friends for the next 12 years. The thing is with the Giants, their pieces are in place. They now have one of the best coaches, in my opinion, in the NFL, maybe in NFL history. He definitely has some more work to do, and I feel like he's going to get it done. The other thing that the Giants have is a great rookie running back, Cam Scadaboo. Man runs with the ball in his hands like he's got his hair on fire, and he's not worried about getting it put out. He'll hit you in the mouth and smile in your face. He's one tough SOB. The Giants got a couple pieces on the offensive side, and then they, of course, got Abdul Carter, the number 3 pick from last year's draft. Didn't have a great season statistically, but he did have great pass rush win rate on his blocks, and he had a lot of quarterback pressures. I think he was top 4 in the entire NFL for quarterback pressures. So that means that you're getting to the quarterback, you're getting home, but you're not making the play. So he definitely has some work to do on getting finishing that off, but he's definitely a prospect anybody in the NFL would love to have, along with Dexter Lawrence along the line and Brian Burns, who was second in the NFL last year in sacks, his best season, and I expect him to have another great season, maybe even, and I actually will take the maybe out of the heel, he will exceed his sack total from last year. Kayvon Thibodeau, the other defensive edge, missed a lot of time. Abdul Carter bounces around the line, he plays everywhere. So I think with a full season with Carter, he's going to make strides, and the Giants'
defensive line is going to be hell on offenses next year. What do you think, Ryan?
The defensive front is definitely a strong part of the Giants' defense. I think they probably could add maybe people in the backfield.
You are right. They definitely could use some help in the secondary, especially the back end. They got 2 free agents last year, Holland and Dixon. They both struggled mightily, especially in pass coverage. Both of them had less than stellar years. I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants moved on from one of them, if not both. So, yeah, that's a great point. I could definitely see them going back end of the secondary, and with that defensive line that you mentioned being so tough, that's only going to help the secondary because the quarterbacks are going to have to get the ball out of their hands fast.
So I can only see Denard Wilson reaching into that honey pot once again and pulling out Caleb Downs.
Hey,
That'll help
the
stop some of them explosive
Ohio
plays that
State.
have been plaguing New York all year.
That is definitely something they need to take care of, and Caleb Downs is definitely the player to do it. Getting drafted this high became the highest drafted safety in the NFL since the one
Kyle Wilson.
Jamal Adams, drafted number 6 overall by the New York Jets back in 2017. Had a great couple first seasons, contract situation, got traded. First season in Seattle, set the NFL record for sacks by a defensive back. Off to a promising start there. Signed a lucrative multi-year contract, and then ended up getting hurt the next year. Hurt the year after that, and really hasn't been the same since. Caleb Downs is definitely in the Jamal Adams arena when it comes to safeties, playmaker, and he would definitely shore up the back end of that defense.
It could happen. Cleveland Browns, number 6.
Oh, you're saying there's a chance. Now, the Cleveland Browns, very, very interesting team. The team that drafted a quarterback with every pick last year's draft, or at least it seemed like it. They got 3 quarterbacks still on the roster. They got Watson, who they're paying a heavy price to, and has been an absolute mess for that organization. Not only acquiring him after his NFL suspension and his off-the-field troubles, he came to Cleveland, signed a $236 million deal, and hasn't been worth a nickel of it. He was injured last year. He got benched the first year in Cleveland. Hence the reason they drafted 2 quarterbacks last year.
Now, Shedeur Sanders definitely showed some flashes at the end of the season. I'm not saying he's the long-term answer, but I definitely think he's a piece to work with. I would think that they would bring in a veteran presence in the locker room, regardless of drafting one or not, because they do have Gabriel from Oregon and the aforementioned Shedeur Sanders from Colorado. So adding a veteran to that quarterback room would definitely even it out. And
Or Dion.
yeah, I mean, hey, you could write it down here, folks. You heard it first. Deion Sanders leaving Colorado to go coach the Cleveland Browns, and his son Shedeur Sanders. Ain't nobody yelling at my boy but me. So primetime might be coming to Cleveland Rocks, Ohio. So with the 6th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft, Ryan, where do you see the Cleveland Browns going? They got a lot of holes to fill. They have a great quarterback.
Well, I definitely would like to see them stick with Shedeur, and he could definitely use help up on the front line. And I know a school that has 2 tackles just chomping at the bit to get over there and help him out. I'd love to see them both, you know.
Which one are they going to pick? You think they're going to get the blindside protector, or they're going to get the mauler on the right?
Well, I think that Spencer has the ability to start right away, and long-term development, I think there's upsides. That's probably the best fit with the highest potential. You know, it's like that's probably where I would go if I were them. So
I think that would be an exceptional choice.
not a big fan of saying Utah, but yep, Spencer Fano.
Hey, and it's hard to deny when you got a school that's putting out 2 NFL first-round caliber tackles every week. They were hell
Not
on
just
opponents'
first round.
defensive lines.
Would you say top 15?
Now, I don't know if I'm going to go as far as saying that. I definitely think that we're going to get one of them in the top 10.
Okay.
I would also lean with Fano going earlier. He is, in my opinion, the number 1 offensive tackle in this draft. No disrespect to Malaga, but I really like the way he gets after blocks. He stays on his blocks till the whistle blows. Coaches love that. And that's what you want when you're drafting an offensive lineman. You want to plug and play. You want to plug him in day 1, let him play there for the next 12 years, and solidify that line. I definitely agree, and I think that this is where Fano would go. We are definitely in agreement for the first time in history with the number 6 pick in the 2026 NFL Draft. We got the Cleveland Browns selecting, who is it again, Ryan?
Spencer Fano. I'll be sure to edit out that we agreed on that, so there's no proof of it. But
I got the hard copy.
Commanders are on deck at number 7. What do you see for them?
Well, now the Commanders are coming off a highly disappointing season. The season before 2024, they were coming off a playoff appearance. They were coming off an NFC Championship game appearance that nobody saw coming. Jaden Daniels absolutely lit the NFL on fire. Played lights out. In my opinion, the best NFL season by a rookie quarterback. He totally turned that franchise around. Not by himself. They had a great free agent signing class that worked. Everyone they got from the free agent class plugged into their position, and they played as well as they were expected to play, if not better. I could definitely see the Commanders maybe taking a risk on a player with a higher ceiling than the best player on the board. So maybe
A sleeper pick, I could see them going with Jeremiah Love, the running back out of Notre Dame. Now, he's the number one rated running back on my list, as well as many other pundits in the league circle. He is hard-nosed, tough runner. This would be second year in the draft. We got 2 running backs taken, fairly high. We know that running backs definitely had a comeback season last year with everything Saquon did and the rookie running back class that came in. We mentioned Genty, but Amari and Hampton for the Chargers had a great season before getting hurt. Travion Henderson is a big part of why the Patriots are playing in the Super Bowl next Sunday. And
R.J. Harvey for the Denver Broncos. Broncos number 1 seed in the AFC. He was a great pickup for them later in the rounds, had an outstanding season, and was definitely part of the reason why they were the number 1 seed in the AFC. Love, the running back out of Notre Dame, first running back taken off the board at number 7 to Washington. I feel like you pair him in the backfield with Jaden Daniels, who is a great decision maker, but he's also, and this is the thing I like about Daniels, he's a dual threat quarterback, but the running is something that he doesn't do until he goes through his progressions. A lot of running quarterbacks, they get happy feet, pocket gets muddy, they get out of there. He is one to go through his progressions. If it's not there, then he'll tuck the ball and run, but it's one of his greater qualities. Like I said, he had the best NFL rookie season for a quarterback, in my opinion, in history. Adding to that backfield, giving them another dynamic playmaker for defenses to scheme for, that I feel would definitely help out Washington next season. You agree, disagree? Where you at?
No, I like that one, but Washington isn't in command of their edges. I think they could find somebody to fill that spot, and David Bailey out of Texas Tech is a great fit for him, I think. I mean, he's a little bit small and whatnot, but I think he's a good fit for him, and they're just in a position that's probably, they could really go anywhere, but that's a good one for him.
Every team in the NFL would like another pass rush or somebody to get the quarterback. That's, what's the best way to mess up a quarterback's day is be in his face all day. I remember in the 2007 Super Bowl, the undefeated Patriots playing the New York Giants, and the New York Giants had the NASCAR package. That's what they call their quarterback rush package, and that package included Michael Strahan, NFL Hall of Famer, Justin Tuck, Usi Yominora, and Jason Pierre-Paul. 4 stud linemen that could all get to the quarterback, all had a plethora of moves. And I remember Tom Brady being quoted in that game on the sideline saying, "How can you throw the ball out there? It's like throwing in a forest." So probably a big reason why the Giants won that Super Bowl, and that's a great way for teams to get back there and do that, because defense wins championships, and the best way to stop an offense is to stop the quarterback. So I can see that David Bailey definitely is a high motor prospect. He goes until the whistle. He is a little bit smaller. For a guy his size, you think he might be a little bit faster. He's not. None of his measurables jump off the charts at you, but none of them also you look at and say, that's detrimental to his skill set. He's kind of middle of the road and everything, but his high motor, his toughness definitely comes in.
He brings the heat, man.
Yeah, he definitely does.
He might be small, but he brings a punch.
Well, and him and Rodriguez, the safety for Texas Tech, were the leaders of that defense, and that defense was lights out this season. They were ranked in the top 10. That was only one season, right? Yeah, yes. The Texas Red Raiders are known for having one great season out of every 20. Shout out to 20 years ago, Michael Crabtree, Cliff Kingsbury.
This year they think David Bailey, which is why he'll go number 7.
Who's next? What have we got at 8?
Kellen Moore and his New Orleans Saints at number 8. What do you see?
Kellen Moore, rookie NFL coach last year, coming off a Super Bowl as the offensive coordinator with the Philadelphia Eagles, had himself an outstanding rookie head coaching season.
Can he do
Saints
bad?
have one of the worst rosters on the NFL talent-wise. He got the most out of every player on that roster. They were projected between 2 and 3 wins by most experts coming into the season. He had them on a 5-game winning streak to end the season, winning more than double what they were allotted as in the beginning at 6 games. So,
But leave it up to Kellen Moore to figure it out and finish strong, right?
hey, when you're the all-time winningest quarterback in college football history with a 50-3 record, as a lefty, as a kid that looks like he should be on the college surfing team and not the quarterback, he is definitely going to
Put this offense together quickly, and their quarterback last year, second-round pick Tyler Shough out of Louisville, had himself a really good season, and that again speaks to Kellen Moore getting the most out of his players, scheming up great offenses, game plans. Shough had almost 3,000 yards passing, 19 touchdowns. I'm not sure what his interceptions were. I know there were a few, but it wasn't more than 6 or 7. He didn't play in the first half of the season. Spencer Rattler was the starting quarterback. Kellen Moore made the change, and it was the right change.
quarterback is not set in stone, but Shaw had a good enough season to buy himself another season, and that's what you want to see out of any prospect is progress, getting better. The Saints, with their first pick in the draft, are going to go offensive tackle out of Utah.
Are you talking about Spencer? Because I already picked him. I know you didn't pick him earlier, but you did agree that he's the better one. But are you talking about Spencer Fano? Pause for editing. All right, so coming in at number 9, Taylor Swift's favorite team.
That may be a little premature. Kelsey's probably going to retire, so she might not care about football anymore, along with millions of other Swifties. So who you got them taking at number 9? They need help everywhere.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they could use another impact defensive player. They need speed. Let me think. I think Kansas City and Andy Reid will deliver Eric Bieniemy a nice little treat in the form of Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame.
Now, I got him already off the board with the 7th pick.
I remember.
To Washington, teaming up with McDaniels in the backfield. But if he wasn't to go there, this is definitely where I would put him. I think this is a great pick. If he's on the board still, like you said, they need speed, and he definitely brings that along with the hard-nosed running style. So I'm in totally agreement with this pick. Now, like I said, on my board, I already got him off. So I would have them taking Ruben Bain, the edge from Miami.
Junior?
He had a great season. He was teamed up with another great in Akeem from the U, helping them get to the runner-up in the national championship game. So he's
Did you see Cam Ward play Michael Irvin on Saturday Night Live?
Cam Patterson,
Yeah. What did I say, Cam Newton?
Cam Ward. But yes, I did see that. And let me
Silence
just be the first
for
to say that it was spot on.
Oh, yeah.
So with Bain going to Kansas City to help shore up that defensive side of the ball, helping getting pressure to the quarterback, I think that would do tremendous help to that defense, getting pressure on the quarterback. So, which they did not do at all last year. They were one of the worst teams with sack totals, and I believe they were the worst pass rush win rate team in the NFL. So Bain would definitely help fix those. So at number 10, we got the Cincinnati Bengals on the board. Cincinnati Bengals could use some offensive line help. They, of course, got Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, and Jalen Waddle. So they are probably going to go on the defense side of the ball. Like I said, offensive tackle could be a choice here. But Ruben Bain, defensive end from Miami, was my last pick to Kansas City. We're going to go back-to-back with Miami defensive ends. We got Akeem from the U coming in at number 10. Cincinnati, Trey Hendrickson, one of the best pass rushers in the NFL last 3 seasons, is a free agent. They've been trying to negotiate for 2 years now. That deal is not going to be getting done. So he is going to be a free agent, and he will not be re-signing. So Cincinnati's going to need to fill those cleats. I'm not saying that he's going to be able to do that, but I definitely think he's a step in the right direction. So with back-to-back Miami edge rushers coming off the board on my mock, what do you got with the number 10 pick, Mr. Ryan?
Double dipping out of Miami, huh?
I do like to double dip my chips.
I like it a lot, but the Bengals need defense, as you so literally put it, but I think they've kind of wasted a lot of time working on that defensive line that they could probably pick somebody like Mansour Deline out of LSU at cornerback and keep up with the receivers in coverage. You know, that whole what is it, NFC North?
Yeah, well, that is definitely a good point. They're going to have to be dealing with Aaron Rodgers if he comes back to Pittsburgh. You got Cleveland, which has Shedeur Sanders, who had a promising end to the season. He actually made the Pro Bowl as a replacement. So I could definitely see this coming to fruition.
And you know Rodgers is coming back.
Definitely. Now, the cornerback you have them taking, he missed the 2025 season because of an injury, but had a great 2024 season. Good enough to get him drafted in the first round. I don't know if it'll be this high, but he is a great prospect. He's got some great tape from a year ago. So I don't think you can go wrong with picking this young man. So with the 11th pick, we got the Miami Dolphins. Laces out, Dan. Now, as a Jets fan, I could care less who Miami picks. As a mock draft expert, where my opinions are highly sought after and agreed upon, I have the Miami Dolphins drafting Mekhi Lemon, wide receiver out of USC. He's going to team up with Jalen Waddle and give the Miami Dolphins a dynamic outside wide receiver tandem. That should definitely help take the top off the defense, open up the run game, give Acne some running room. He's a good running back, had a great rookie season, had a good season last year, but I feel like drafting Lemon, adding him to the wide receiver room would open up a lot of things for the Dolphins. Now, Tua is on rocky road with them. They've probably come to a decision organizationally that he won't be coming back. They got to opt out in his contract after this year that he signed in 2022, so they have a way out, and I believe they're going to be taking that. So Miami's not going to have a quarterback at this time, but they are going to have some dynamic offensive weapons with Lemon, Waddle, and Acne. So we've been disagreeing on the last few picks, so let's keep it going. Who do you got?
Well, I mean, there's plenty of question marks on that Miami roster.
Which question mark do you have them answering?
Well, I do know that when it comes to picks, you definitely are the real McCoy on getting it right. But Miami wants Jermod McCoy out of Tennessee. He just kind of makes sense. There's definitely other spots that they could go, but I think Jeff Hafley could really use this guy in that position since they do have smaller question marks in those other areas. You know, this is probably a spot that they could really fill. I know did you give him away earlier?
No, I did not.
No? All right. Pause for editing.
I don't have any cornerbacks off my board yet, and I do not have him going off here. I do have him rated as my top corner. You had a cornerback out of LSU drafted a pick ago who has tremendous upside.
Well, I mean, he does. He did have the knee injury, right?
Yep.
But I mean, he'll be in Miami. He could just retire there, you know. So.
and no better place to rehab than on the beach, sipping Mai Tais.
Should he start in New York and then head there?
Yeah, exactly. Why not? Join the bandwagon. So, we've got the first 11 picks in the 2026 NFL Draft off the books and into your brains. We got the Dallas Cowboys, America's team.
Not
Some would
DeMarcus
say.
Lawrence's team. Did you hear what he said?
I did hear what he said, and I think that what he said holds some weight because I think DeMarcus Lawrence is playing in the Super Bowl, and I believe that the Dallas Cowboys defensive line was in shambles, especially after trading away Micah Parsons. I still don't get that deal. You have one of the best pass rushers to come into the NFL in the last 15, 20 years. He's only 25 years old at the start of next season, and you're going to trade him away. And the haul they got back wasn't that great of a haul when you're trading away that great of a player. So the Cowboys have a lot of holes to fill. Dak needs help. That defense can't stop a runny nose. So with my mock draft selection, I got the Dallas Cowboys choosing Falk, defensive end out of Auburn. He's been a steady contributor each of his seasons, getting better. He got minimal playing time as a freshman, got spot duty and a couple starts his sophomore year. And his junior year, he really exploded onto the scene. He's got 14 sacks, 11 and a half tackles for loss, 3 passes defended, 2 fumble recoveries. That's a stat filler right there. I feel like he could come in and help to start the rebuild of that defensive line. They need it from top to bottom, nose, tackle, edge. So they can't go wrong any part of the line. Peter Woods, the defensive tackle from Clemson, I considered here. He balled out in 2024, was expected to do the same this year. He didn't have a great season, but he didn't have a bad season. He had a good season, but you don't like watching prospects
backslide, and that's what Peter Woods did.
But I also think that might light a fire underneath that young man, and he might come in with something to prove, which when you got something to prove, you can get it done. Nobody likes to be proved wrong. So where do you got the Dallas Cowboys going with this 12th pick of the NFL draft?
Well, they need to get rid of Jerry. You know, he is definitely just getting. Did you see the documentary?
I have not seen the documentary. I don't choose to support Dallas in any way.
I mean, they can't have Post Malone at every halftime show, so don't expect much when you go to see the Cowboys. But I could definitely see them reaching into that honeypot again and pulling out linebacker Sonny Styles.
Now, the Ohio State University is having a draft
Shout out Tony
of
Hinchcliffe.
decades. This is the 4th Ohio State player taken in the top 12, so that would be 33% of all players drafted in this draft are coming from the Ohio State University for you math nerds out there. Now, I could definitely see Dallas making this pick. Their defense was atrocious last year. Holes to fill everywhere. Like I said, the defensive line, in my opinion, was the biggest one. But if you were to get Stikes in the middle of your defense, that would definitely help to anchor it. I don't think he's got too high of a ceiling, but his floor is definitely set to where you're going to get decent value out of this pick.
Now, like you said, Jerry, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's one of the best owners in NFL history, one of the worst general managers. That is definitely continues to be a circus in Dallas, and I'm enjoying watching all the clowns and elephants.
So, next up, we got the Rams, LA Rams. Sean McVay had the Rams in the NFC Championship game. They fell short to the Seattle Seahawks by 4 points. Seattle's probably, in my opinion, the best team in the league. They're very, very well coached. They are disciplined on all 3 phases of the game. They have the best and most balanced attack in the NFL. 3 running backs, Kenneth Walker, Charbonnet, and George Halani from the running backs University, Boise State. Shout out Doug Martin. Shout out Ian Johnson. Shout out Jeremy McWeapon. Shout out John Helmendollar. So, with the 13th pick in the 2026 NFL Draft for the LA Rams, with the greatest offensive mind in football today, Sean McVay, where do you see them going with this pick, Ryan?
Man, LA, they need to get out of LA to begin with, you know, is they do not have a fan base, and they
It's hard to
perform.
attract fans when you're in LA, you know? Hollywood, you got the beach there, you can riot whenever you want, so many things to do.
Tell that to USC. Tell that to UCLA in the 80s, you know, like, get out of here. It's the Rams, you know. We got rid of you one time. Why'd you come back?
The Rams.
You know, like, were we supposed to take you out into the desert and bury you?
They made a U-turn like the circle horn on their head.
Definitely a wrong turn at Albuquerque. But let me.
What do you think as far as Stafford? Do you think he's coming back
Matt?
after what he said at his press conference after the championship game loss? I still think he's got
What
some
exactly
football in him.
was it that he said?
He had said that he enjoys the locker room, he enjoys the competition, he loves the team, and he definitely was going to take some time to make his decision, but as long as his body was holding up, he would be back. And like I said, I think he's got a lot of football left in him. He's my pick for the NFL MVP this year, closely beating out Drake May from the Patriots. Great season for him at only 23, second year in the league. But Stafford, like a fine wine, aged wonderfully, had one of his best seasons as a pro. Almost got his team to the Super Bowl, but he will be taking home that MVP trophy, and I feel like he will be back. So that is going to weigh in on my decision, because I originally had them taking Ty Simpson, quarterback, Alabama. That would be good value pick in the draft. As we mentioned, this is not a great quarterback draft. I think my grandma's the 8th rated quarterback in the draft, coming out of Garden City Community College, that powerhouse program.
The GCU.
Don't forget it. Grandma will get you. The Rams still could draft Simpson and let him sit for a year under Stafford. That's not a bad game plan. But I think that they would use this pick on a defensive player, and that defensive player that I have them taking is who you had at number 12 with the Dallas Cowboys, and that's Stikes, linebacker, the Ohio State University.
I'm going to start calling them that every time I say it now because, man, they just get players.
Every level, every position. Wide receivers have been coming out like clockwork every year. JNS, Jackson Smith-Njigba, best wide receiver in football this year. Garrett Wilson, New York Jets. Drake London, New Orleans Saints. The list goes on. And these are players that have been drafted in the last few years.
So, with the 13th pick, the Rams take Styles, linebacker from The Ohio State University. He's going to come in. He's going to be a voice in the locker room. He's a great leader, team captain the last 2 years. And the
Rams could use a captain on the defensive side, and I feel like that's their man. Where you got him going?
I think they could definitely use a few pieces on defense. Chris Shula needs some help right now.
shout out to Chris Shula, great defensive coordinator. Probably should have got hired in the coaching cycle this year, but he'll get his turn.
Familiar last name.
I've heard it once or twice.
Yeah, never in a Super Bowl though, right?
Never an undefeated one.
And you'll probably never see the Rams in one either. So I like the idea that, the Rams got this pick from the Atlanta Falcons, right?
Yes, that is very true.
I say, even though he's a little bit small, he does have great awareness. His twitch and ball skills more than make up for his lack of size. But AJ's little brother, Avleon Terrell, there's an L in there. Avleon Terrell, or Terrell.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I mean, out of Clemson, I think you gave him earlier, but if he's still there around here, I think he's just a great fit, he will immediately fit in with Shula's defense, what he's trying to do over there. So,
and I think that he could definitely come in and plug and play. The only concern I have with him is he is a high risk, high reward player, meaning he takes a lot of chances on balls. Now, it's always great when he does make that play, but it doesn't work out that way all the time. And usually when he's trying to make that play and he doesn't make that play, it means that the wide receiver made his play and they're scoring a touchdown. So it's either fest or famine with him. You're going to get a pick six to ignite your team, or you're going to get a 65-yard touchdown to deflate your team.
So you got to take the good with the bad, but I think that his inconsistency would scare me away.
It's tough, yeah. I mean, the Rams got to do something, right?
Yeah, and like you said, Chris Shula, who is a great defensive coach, might be able to get the best out of Terrell, so that might be a great pick now that I'm looking at it that way.
I think Shula might be the best defensive coordinator in football. That is, if Robert Saleh does not return to the San Francisco 49ers. So we got the Baltimore Ravens coming in at number 14. The Ravens had quite a roller coaster season last year. Started out 1-5. Had a 1% chance to make the playoffs. Roll out a winning streak after that of 6 games. Lamar Jackson goes down. It's looking bleak again. But the Ravens are able to get their season on the brink of the playoffs with a chance to get there in the Week 18 matchup with the
Division rival Steelers. We all know how that game ended. In my opinion, that was the game of the year in season. That game I watched on the edge of my seat from the midway second quarter on, and I could care less about the two teams. It was just a highly entertaining game.
And it usually is when the Ravens get together with the Steelers. So the Ravens lost their their coach, John Harbaugh. They chose to go in a different direction. They hired Todd Monken as their head coach. So, with the 14th pick, I got the Baltimore Ravens choosing the number 1 rated tight end in this draft out of Phil Knight's Nike Money Oregon Ducks. We're going to get Sadiq Bey. He's a tight end. He's got
Exceptional route running skills, great hands. He's too fast for linebackers, and he's too big for corners, and that's what you want out of a tight end. He could definitely use some polishing on his blocking, but in the NFL nowadays, a lot of 2 and 3 tight end systems, so that's not as big as an issue as it was in the past, but I feel that Baltimore could use some offensive firepower. Jackson can't do it all every year. Getting an MVP, the most valuable player for his
team and the entire league. Now, when the season ended, they had free agents at both their tight end spots, Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. And I feel that they're going to be bringing one of those back and mixing him with a rookie with base talent and upside would be a nice mix, in my opinion. So what do you think the Ravens are going to do with this pick, number 14, after going through an offseason of changes for the first time in 18 years?
Man, after that holdout, you would have expected a better turnout, and here we are, 2 years later, and John Harbaugh is out the door?
Not on his own accord, too. That's,
Yeah, crazy. But I guess we're pause for editing. I see Baltimore taking Keldrick Falk.
The edge out of Auburn.
Yeah.
Yes, I already have him off my board. He went a few picks earlier for me, but I definitely could see them going defensive end. This is a very, very heavy top end loaded draft when it comes to edges. There is probably 8 guys that have first round potential, and we've already got 5 of them off of our board. So I could definitely see, not necessarily Falk, but I can see them going defensive end, linebacker, help, someone that can get to the quarterback, someone that can make plays, and someone that could help bringing back the bullies of Baltimore. The great defensive tradition and history there with Ray Lewis and Tony Saragusa and Ed Reed. The list goes on and on. So I think that Falk, if he were to fall there, could be in line to be the next great defensive player for Baltimore. So I think that's a great pick.
Yeah, I mean, he has high upside, and, he's definitely a project, but he definitely can contribute.
He's definitely a project worth it, too. Like you said, with his upside, even if you don't match that potential to its fullest, you're still going to get a decent player that's going to help contribute to your team. So,
what do you think about Jesse Minner? Cedric's, bro. This is kid. No, I'm just kidding. Pause for editing.